Your next step is to smooth out the form before you start with the fine detail sculpting. So you can just use your fingers and go around the piece and make sure that it's just the shape you want and the clay is really smooth. I don't recommend a sponge for this stage because a sponge can add too much moisture to the clay, and it's going to start, eventually it's going to start getting a little firmer, and you want that as you're working and sculpting to keep it sturdy so it can support itself. Eventually we are going to carve out the bottom. Right now the bottom is still solid. If we don't carve the bottom out, the air will get trapped inside the clay, and as it's trying to escape in the kiln, it will expand and cause your piece to explode. So later on we will work on carving out the bottom. All right, once you're ready for the fine detail sculpting, you have to think about things in 3 dimensions. So I want to add a nose here in this area for my mouse. And rather than just drawing it on the clay, I want to think about the forms that make up the nose. Drawing it on the clay might look like this, but really it's not about a line like that. It's about a form. So we'll smooth that out, and I'll show you how to put together the face that will work for this mouse. Now, when you put together a face for animals, a lot of them are very similar, so you can use this basic principle for lots of different animals. If we look at the nose, you can see that there's a little nose and there's cheeks on either side of the mouse, and there's actually a little chin under there too. So the way that we're going to create those is with small little balls of clay that we're going to slip and score onto the face. So we'll make a couple little balls of clay. There's a little one right here for the nose, and I'm going to make one for the cheeks, and the cheeks I'm actually going to use one single ball of clay and just cut it in half. So it'll be a little bit here so you can see a little bit here. It'll be about that size. And I'm just going to use this tool here to cut it in half. And then I'm going to make one more for the chin. All right, so let's move this back so you can see it. Okay, so I'm going to slip and score these on here. So we're going to start out with the nose. It's going to be about right there. I'm going to put one little cheek on one side and the other cheek on the other side. And the chin is going to go down here. Now right now it just looks like some balls of clay on the mouse. But you can see that it starts to form this little line here, which is where the nose connects to the mouth, and the opening of the mouth, which goes in either direction. So you can see how that, now it looks a little silly like this because we haven't smoothed it in yet. So the next step is to slip and score it on there. So we'll start with the nose. I'm going to score where I want to put it on. I'm going to add my slip. And then we'll do the cheeks. There's one, and the other one. If it's hard to get a tool in there like that, you can use another tool to score. Okay, and then the chin. And remember, you don't need a lot of slip, just enough to stick it on there. Okay, so these are now slipped and scored on. My next step is to smooth them out. So just like the ear, I can take either my fingers or a tool, and I can smooth them into the face of the mouse. I can start to form the nose a little bit. I'm going to use a tool here to smooth that nose out on the top. And then underneath the chin there, I'm going to do the same thing. Turn it like this so you can see it. All right. And now, once you have those forms on there, you can work with them to shape them. Now, a cat would have a similar structure on its face, but they're much more square in the jaw, and the mouse is skinnier and pointier, so I'm going to make it a little skinnier and pointier. And then we can use a tool to work on the nose a little bit. Give that nose some nostrils. Okay. See, I just used the end of a paintbrush there. And you can add in detail if you like. You can take a tool underneath here and you can work on the line of the mouth. If you want to work on it like that. Okay, so now I have my little mouse face. Now, one thing that's missing are the eyes. So that is the next step.